I'm honestly thinking of filming this entire thing with this phone because the heat today is just unreal. And the cicadas outside are just going fucking bonkers. They are wild. Well, hello there, welcome back. Today I'm here to do something a bit different, I guess. Here's the thing, I am a very nostalgic person, okay? I can sit down and spend an entire afternoon reminiscing without a problem. Some days I just spend the entire night scrolling through my Instagram feed and looking at old pictures of me with my friends and all that. But that's not the only thing that I reminisce about, you know. Sometimes I just think about foods that I used to like, or movies that I used to like, and books that I used to like. Yeah, this video is gonna be about that. Now listen, I know that publishing nowadays is not perfect. In fact, it's far from it, and I know there's still a long way to go in terms of diversity and, you know, what is acceptable to be in books and what isn't. But I think it's also very important for us to recognize the steps that we already took. You know, at the same time, we criticize the steps we haven't taken yet, if that makes sense. And boy, oh boy, we took many steps, let me tell you that, because, you know, the books that used to be popular back when I was a teenager were so much fucking worse. Not all of them, of course, you know, there were many good books as well, you know, but there was a lot of shit, and, you know, things are quite different in terms of what we deemed acceptable or not to be included in a book for teenagers, for example. Especially in terms of relationships, I feel, because... yeah. And today I wanted to talk a bit about some of the books that I used to really like back when I was a teenager, which was a while ago. But I also didn't want to talk about books that are still, you know, largely talked about, because... what's the fun in that? So yeah, like most teenagers from back in the day, I also really liked the two series we don't talk about anymore, as well as The Hunger Games, Divergent, Graceling, and no City of Bones. I never liked that. But since those series are still very largely talked about nowadays, I don't really see the point of bringing them up now, so just be aware. But in mind, it's been a while, so I have never reread these books and I don't really remember everything about them, but I still own them, which is absolutely wild to me because I unhauled so many books recently, and the fact that I kept these books, I don't know, I think it's a sign maybe I should reread them. So let me know in the comments down below if you would like a vlog of me rereading some of my teenage favorites, because I think it could be fun. The first book series I'm gonna talk about is this one, which I don't really know the name of, but the books are Wake, Fade, and Gone by Lisa Mackman. These books were wild, man. I don't remember much about them. I do remember that the main character, Johnny? I think it's Johnny. She used to be able to get into people's dreams, like, well, that wedding is a bit weird. She couldn't actually control it. Like, if someone fell asleep beside her, she would automatically be sucked into the person's dreams. And I remember something about a drug operation. I don't know if I made that shit up. I think she was working alongside either the police or the FBI to kind of bring down this drug operation that I think was led by one of her teachers. I don't remember if she was called to work with them because of that dream thing that she does, but if that's the case, that's very weird, isn't it? Because why would they believe that she can actually do that? And I remember she also had this love interest that she was very interested in. Wow, that was... what a choice of words. She had this guy that she was very interested in, and I believe she was either 16 or 17, and something in my gut tells me that this guy was much older than her, and that this relationship was very inappropriate, and I just never realized, and I romanticized the shit out of it. But I don't know, I could be wrong, it's been a while, you know, I don't remember all the nitty-gritty details. I thought they were so well written, and I thought that the whole dream thing and the way you worked and the way it was described was super nice. I was actually thinking of rereading these books because I used to love them and I barely remember them nowadays. If they turn out to be bad, at least I can have a good laugh, but if they turn out to be good, why is nobody else talking about this? The second big series I'm going to talk about is the Matched trilogy. There's Matched and Crossed, and the third one I think it's called Reached. The funny thing is, I literally just realized that I never finished reading these books. Like, I don't even know the third one, which is funny because I remember really loving them. What do I remember about this? I remember the main character is called Cassia because I think this name is ugly. I'm sorry to all the Cassias out there. I really don't like this name. And that stuck in my head. There was a love triangle, of course, because most books in this era had a love triangle. And the guys were Kai and Xander. The fact that I still remember the names, my mind. This takes place in a society where everyone is matched to another person, you know, kind of like a are you the one situation. Like, they kind of match up to people who are the most compatible and they have to get married and live a life together and all that. Like, you can't choose who you're going to spend the rest of your life with, but most people seem to be okay with that, and you can choose to remain single for the rest of your life, which a lot of people do. I think the main character expects to be paired up with this guy named Xander, who maybe was her best friend, I don't know. They are both from a higher up class, and then in the ceremony, I don't know if it's a ceremony, if she just gets into a room and reads the name, something like that. But it isn't Xander's name, it is this guy Kai, and he is from another class, you know, he is a bit poorer than them. It was basically a mistake, like the system was rigged or something like that, and she was actually paired up with Xander, but because of this mistake she starts questioning whether or not the whole system actually works or not, you know, or whether this whole thing is bogus. She also starts noticing Kai and she starts, you know, taking an interest in him. I remember I found this so interesting because I really like the idea of this world, you know, this are you the one world. I really liked a few details of the world building, like there was a limited amount of art and history that the people had access to, and other pieces of art were forbidden. I don't remember the specifics, like why that was. I just remember that there was this very slim number of art in general that the people could get access to, and certain words and works of art were prohibited. And I remember that there was this one poem, I think it was by Tennyson, and I did not know that I remembered so much, and this poem was prohibited in the world, but I think it was Kai knew this poem and he passed it along to Cassia, and it plays a huge part in the story, and I remember loving this. I remember eating this shit up. And I really like this whole idea of like something that you thought was fate and premeditated and that you had no say in it and no choice. I really like when you discover that it is actually rigged, and then you have to decide whether you want to follow it anyway or if you want to break with it and start a new life, even though it might be a very bad one, and you know, not having any certainties. I really like this whole idea, and this is one that I also really want to reread because I remember thinking the writing in this was absolutely beautiful, but then I read the Goodreads reviews and most people think it is annoying as fuck. One thing that I think is funny about this one though is that I think I wasn't actually rooting for the main couple, you know, and I think this might have been the first time when I didn't agree with the endgame ship. So that is interesting. I wonder if I would think the same thing nowadays. The next one is one that is still very much talked about nowadays, but I wanted to mention it anyway, and it is the Selection Trilogy. There's the Selection, the Elite, and what's this one called? I think it's The One. I don't know, man. I just really love Maxon. This is about this girl called America Singer, which is the most stupid name. No offense to Curicass, but what the fuck is this name? And she lives in this society that is divided by castes. and she is from a lower one, but not the lowest, you know. She is from the cast that kind of entertains people, so, you know, artists in general. Like, she is a singer, because, and I think her entire family is of singers, but maybe they are all just musicians and she is the singer, I don't know. But the last name is Singer, and they make music. And this basically follows America as she joins the selection, which is kind of like the Bachelorette. Is that how you say the word? I don't know how to say the word. Bachelorette? Bachelorette? What? You get it. It's like this group of girls who are all competing for the hand of the crown prince. You know, they want to get married to him and become princess and eventually queen. And the whole thing is televised, and there are tests and all that and eliminations and all. It's the Bachelorette. I remember America was so fucking annoying, and let me tell you, if I, at the height of my 16, 17 years of life, thought she was annoying then, I don't want to know what I think about her now, honestly. And she had this little boyfriend who was from a lower caste, you know, like lower than her, and they were always bickering. And I think this little boyfriend breaks up with her so she can have a nice life and all that, and so she goes to the selection because of that. But wouldn't you know it, he turns up there as a god and keeps trying to be with her after he dumped her. He told her that he wanted her to move on and have a better life, and then he just... I literally don't have patience for that. But the thing that I loved about this trilogy was Maxon, Prince Maxon. He was just so fucking sweet, and I remember being so giddy reading about his moments with America, because he was just so soft, and I really loved him. That I remember without a doubt, because I remember that I used to try really hard to pretend that I didn't like romance, to not be like those other girls, and just be closer to the guys in hopes that one of them would pay attention to me, because sexism, internalized misogyny, awesome. And I remember being very embarrassed about how giddy I was by the romance in this, and at the fact that I was reading this, period. Like, I didn't read this in public, because if the guys saw me reading this, they would know that I was like other girls. Being like other girls is just fucking great, because girls are fucking amazing. Next we have the Vanished series, which was previously 1-800 Where Are You, I think, which is a funny name. I have these two bind-ups. This has books 1 and 2, which are called When Lightning Strikes and Codename Cassandra. And this has books 3 and 4, Safe House and Sanctuary. This is what they look like. I used to love these so fucking much. And you might have noticed that these are the first English editions that I show here. And that is because these were some of the first books I read in English ever in my life. Here's a little piece of trivia for you. The first book that I read in English was The Lost Hero by Rick Riordan. And that's because I have read the entire Percy Jackson series and I was absolutely obsessed with it. I loved it so much, and I couldn't wait for the new book to come out in Portuguese. I just had to read it in English, so that's that. But going back to this, I remember I bought it because it was super cheap, and I was really trying to start reading more in English because I didn't think my reading comprehension was that good. And as I said before in some other videos, I am self-taught in English, so I really wanted to learn a bit more, you know, how people actually talked. And you know, I used to love Meg Cabot. I had many of her books in Brazilian Portuguese, and I thought it would be like an easy transition, you know, because I kind of already knew the way she wrote in a way. I knew the translated version of her words, so how fucking difficult could it be? And turns out the answer is it was very difficult, because the thing is, sometimes Meg Cabot writes things the way they sound rather than the way they are actually written in. So, for example, instead of writing, did you do this? She will write, did you do this? And I will read that and I would be like, what the fuck is a teacher? So it was a bit rough in that respect, but I ended up, you know, managing to do it, and I felt like I improved quite a lot for it, you know. Now that I knew that people actually said, did you do this? That's the thing I remember the most about this book, did you? I think this is about a girl who was struck by lightning and starts having visions of missing people. I know the struck by lightning part is real for sure, and I know that there's some connection to missing people, but I don't really remember what that connection is. I don't know if she knows where the missing people are, or if she has visions about them, or if she is able to communicate with them. I don't know. I just remember that she was struck by lightning and there's something to do with missing people. And I remember in one of the books, she is a counselor at a summer camp. And what else? I think the guy she's interested in has a motorcycle. I don't know why, but that comes to my mind when I think about these books. And I'm pretty sure she has a brother who has schizophrenia as well, although not sure how well done the rap is for that. But yeah, I remember loving these, and Meg Cabot's characters are very much not like other girls' types of characters, but I don't know why the way she does it doesn't really bother me. Like, I think maybe it's because her writing is very humorous, so it doesn't really bother me the way it would in other series. The last book series I want to talk about is one that I don't actually own, and it's the Lorien Legacies book series by Pigtails Law. Don't know what the actual name of the author is. This is the name that's written in the book. This is about a group of aliens who escaped their home planet back when they were very young children, and there's an alien race that's trying to kill them all, which is the same alien race that destroyed their home planet. And the thing is, they have to be killed in an order, and I don't remember why. Like, you have to kill first number 1, then number 2, then number 3, then number 4. And it's impossible for you to kill them out of order. The thing that I don't understand is why the people from the home planet will make that happen. Like, do you want the number 1 to be killed off? I don't know. Okay, so yeah, that's a thing. The first book is called I Am Number 4, and I used to love it, but I remember loving the second one the most, and this is one of the series that I never finished as well. But I remember loving the second book a lot more because it really expanded on the law, and it kind of deconstructed some of the things that we thought about in the first book. Because in the first book, the main character really believes that his race is monogamous and that they only have one love their entire life, and he fell in love with this girl from his high school. But then in the second book, number 6 tells him that she doesn't think that that's the case, because she remembers her mentor, because all of them have like a guardian, and she says that she remembers her guardians talking about many people that she's been with throughout her life. So that maybe number 4 only thinks that way because his guardian was very monogamous and all that. So I remember that was one of the first instances that I read about something like that, you know, and I only came to realize that I was a non-monogamous person as an adult. You know, it was a very short while ago. But, you know, that kind of spiked an interest in me back then as well. I remember just really loving the lore in these books and everything about the aliens and the superpowers and all that. And number 6, I loved her. She was that bitch, okay? I absolutely adored her character. And I really liked how the relationships are changing, and I really liked how we were getting to know the other numbers, you know, that came after and all that. So it was all very interesting, and I really want to get back to this one because I feel like I might like it nowadays, even though I think it might read very young. So yeah, those were some of the books that I used to really like when I was a teenager. Let me know if you would be interested in seeing a reading vlog of them. And yes, thank you so much for watching. Leave a like, comment and subscribe if you feel like it. And as always, I'll see you around.